Each year at commencement, Washington and Jefferson College recognizes individuals who have served our society with distinction. We commemorate the good work of these individuals with the college's highest tribute, the honorary doctorate. A description of their outstanding accomplishments is printed in your program. Today's honorees have helped to shape the world we all inhabit. They have been responsible for ensuring that we receive accurate, thorough information about the political affairs of our nation and our world. They have fought for civil rights for all Americans, brought us joy through their stage performances of outstandingly rich characters, and defined the ethics and future of a church of over 2 million souls worldwide. Each honoree has helped to define the future that the class of 2015 will enter. At this time, I ask the sponsors to please present the candidates for honorary degrees.
Madam President, I present to you as a candidate for the degree of Doctorate of Fine Arts, William E. Porter II.
Billy Porter, as a boy growing up in the East Liberty neighborhood of Pittsburgh, you dreamt of appearing on Broadway after seeing the cast of Dreamgirls appear on a 1982 telecast of the Tony Awards. You waited eagerly for the mailman who would deliver your copy of the Backstage magazine, and you circled all of the auditions you would go to if only you were in New York. Still, you did not let geography or anything else deter you. You began singing in your local church, and by your mid-20s, you had won Star Search, signed a record deal, and had been cast as the teen angel in Tommy Tune's Broadway revival of Grease. Growing up gay in a Pentecostal household, you learned early how to advocate for yourself. Discovery of your own truth is the first thing that grounds you, you have said. You can't be anything other than what you are. But your early success only led to more one-dimensional supporting roles like teen angel, and so you decided to hold out for the meatier, grittier roles that you knew you could own, roles that would allow you to be who you are. It took more than a decade for you to reach this goal, but you did not give up on your dreams. When stage work dried up, the idea of writing presented itself. You entered the professional program in screenwriting at the University of California, Los Angeles, allowing yourself, as you now advise your students, quote, the capacity for your dreams to change and expand without feeling like you're a failure in the process. Writing enabled you to be the source of creative material, not merely an interpreter of it. Your first project, Ghetto Superstar, was critically acclaimed cabaret-style show that Ebony magazine described as a biographic tour de force. Buoyed by that success, you went on to conceive and direct a groundbreaking musical, Being Alive, and more directing credits followed. At long last, a revival of Angels in America gave you reason to seek the stage again, but a role in the production was no sure thing. You lobbied hard for the opportunity to simply audition. You won the role of Belize, a gay Christian African-American, allowing you at long last to incorporate all of yourself on the stage, and Broadway noticed, with one critic declaring you to be the best cast performer in the show. Most recently, you originated the role of Lola in the critically acclaimed and multiple award-winning production of Kinky Boots, playing a drag queen who helps a straight-laced factory owner save his shoe business. For this role, you were granted Broadway's highest honor, the Tony Award for Best Actor in a Musical. At W&J, we say that our students should know how to live in a diverse community. For your steadfast commitment to being your best version of yourself, for having the courage to speak even when it seems no one is listening, for showing us all how to hold on to who we are, and for doing it in 6-inch stilettos, we honor you.
By the authority invested in me by Washington and Jefferson College and the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, I confer upon you the degree of Doctor of Fine Arts, honoris causa, in token of which I present this diploma and cause you to be invested with the hood appropriate to this degree. Congratulations.
Madam President, Madam President, I present to you as a candidate for the degree Doctor of Laws, honoris causa, Thomas W. Gaither.
Dr. Thomas Gaither, you were just a college student on January 31st, 1961, when you and 8 other young activists created a sea change in the civil rights movement by instituting a new strategy that would come to be known as jail, not bail. Rather than pay $100 fine for simply sitting at a lunch counter, thus providing the funding for the very system of segregation you were working against, you chose to complete a prison sentence, 30 days of hard labor. Your bravery and strong ethical stance advanced the cause of civil rights and moved the country closer to the signing of the Civil Rights Act, one of the most significant pieces of legislation in American history. The child of 2 teachers whose lives in the segregated South were not easy, you learned from your parents the importance of hard work and education. The first time you were able to cast a vote in an election, you had to travel 150 miles each way just to do so. You graduated from Claflin University magna cum laude, but when you arrived at the University of South Carolina to take the graduate record exam for admission into graduate studies, you were asked to move from the auditorium, where the white students had desks and air conditioning, to take the exam in an empty building across the street where you sat in an open room with only a few chairs, distracted by South Carolina's blistering heat, completing an exam that was supposed to be the measure of your future potential. Still, you persevered. About you, your son has said, quote, "My father taught us every day that we have a choice. When you face a great injustice, you can respond in kind, but that does not break the cycle. Rather than giving in to anger and letting it consume you, you channel it in a positive way through action that can make a meaningful difference." And so you channeled your energy into continuing your education, and your high GRE scores, earned in spite of the handicaps placed upon you, provided you with a number of choices for graduate school. You received a master's degree in biology from Atlanta University, and then were selected for a teaching assistantship at the University of Iowa, where you went on to complete your doctorate in botany with a specialty in mycology. For 39 years, you served as an esteemed professor in the biology department at Slippery Rock University. As a researcher, you examined the tiny structures of a living system to see what happens when those structures transform. To accomplish this task, you used the electron microscope because, as you have said, you can see more clearly what's there. Dr. Thomas W. Gaither, for your heroic actions as a leader in the civil rights movement, for helping us all see more clearly what is there, and for demonstrating what we here at Washington and Jefferson College call uncommon integrity, we honor you.
By the authority invested in me by Washington and Jefferson College and the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, I confer upon you the degree of Doctor of Laws, honoris causa, in token of which I present this diploma and cause you to be invested with the hood appropriate to this degree. Congratulations.
Madam President, I present to you for the degree of Doctor of Divinity, honoris causa, Katharine Jefferts, Schori.
Most Reverend Jefferts Schori, your devotion to the Episcopal Church and its ideals inspire those who experience your teaching directly and indirectly. You are both an accomplished scientist and a renowned religious leader who finds those two modes of understanding complementary. As the first woman elected primate in the world Anglican community, breaking a 500-year gender barrier, you encourage the congregations you lead to understand that faith communities are interdependent, and that if the church is to thrive in changing times, we must recognize and celebrate the diversity of those communities. At primary school in Seattle, the nuns you looked up to were not afraid to trade their habits for sweatsuits and take up games of kickball or hide and seek. You learned that faith was not something that was practiced only in the mind, but something that should be experienced with your whole self, greeting the full wonder of creation with everything you have. An aspiring scientist for as long as you can remember, you built your first crystal radio set by the time you were 6. By age 8, you knew you wanted a career in marine science, and so you began your adult life. You did not set out to become a religious leader, but a scientist. An oceanographer, you studied interconnected systems, the chemistry and circulation of water, the atmosphere above, and the geology below the sea. But reading some of the great physicists of the 20th century, including Heisenberg, Bohr, and Einstein, you saw in their discussions of mysteries of the universe an invitation back into the questions of faith. Going back to school, you earned a divinity degree and began your church career as rector of a church in Corvallis, Oregon. Now a religious leader of more than 2 million members in 17 countries and 108 dioceses, you bring this understanding of interdependence to a worldwide church, encouraging parishes across the globe to appreciate that though they exist in different ecosystems, they are interrelated, and that their very diversity is a sign of the health and vitality no living organism can be sustained without. You have said, quote, "We live in a time when we need to see the glory of God in every other human being and also in the rest of creation." But you also acknowledge the difficulty of this task and ask us to join together to help heal the struggles that divide us: hunger, homelessness, violence, persecution, and racism. With your strength of leadership and steadfast commitment to bringing diverse communities together to make both the earth and the spiritual world a better place, you demonstrate the motto of Washington and Jefferson College, Juncte Vivant, together we thrive. For bringing together the communities of science and religion, for serving as a model of compassionate leadership, and for encouraging individuals across the globe to work together to create a better world, we honor you.
By the authority invested in me by Washington and Jefferson College and the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, I confer upon you the degree of Doctor of Divinity, honoris causa, in token of which I present this diploma and cause you to be invested with the hood appropriate to this degree. Congratulations.
Madam President, I present to you as candidate for the degree of Doctor of Humane Letters, honoris causa, Howard Fineman.
Howard Fineman, your commitment to promoting civil discourse has led you to a distinguished career as one of our nation's most trusted political journalists. You are known and respected for your unwavering dedication to helping journalism thrive and ensuring that American democracy survives alongside it. The first person to hold the title of Global Editor-Director at the Huffington Post, your work is transforming journalism as we know it. Growing up in Pittsburgh's Squirrel Hill neighborhood, you learned lessons about politics and people that have shaped your work as an expert political commentator. In Washington, you have written, I live in a divided world of red versus blue, Republican against Democrat, Heartland versus Coasts, Rush Limbaugh versus Al Franken, and so on. There are lessons in Pittsburgh for the country, and for the president who would lead it. The main ones being, we are all in this together. Winning is important, but not the only thing. In America, pride of place is an all but forgotten form of salvation. The son of two educators, one a teacher of history, the other a teacher of English, your chosen profession combines their knowledge, understanding, and ability to edify as you seek to help others understand the American political system. When you were 13, you read both Advise and Consent and The Making of the President, and knew you were bound to make your living in the nation's capital. For 30 years, you worked at the most venerable of magazines, Newsweek, writing, you would say, quote, the first rough draft of history. You have interviewed every candidate for president since 1984, and you were the first person to complete a sought-after interview with George W. Bush following 9/11. Yet you chose to move from Newsweek magazine to the online newspaper, The Huffington Post, a risk that found its rewards when under your leadership, the Post was awarded its first Pulitzer Prize for national reporting. Though you now make your living online, you have said, quote, the digital world is a dangerous one, where we must all be editors and reporters in search of the truth. In your best-selling book, The 13 American Arguments, you help us to cut through the noise of the day, encouraging us to thoughtfully consider matters fundamental to democracy. You write, quote, we are the arguing country, born in and born to debate. And you encourage that discussion, combining your knowledge of American history and an analysis of our current political issues. Through your journalism, you enliven debate, the guiding principle of democracy. At W&J, we say that college is a conversation, and we must learn to argue across lines of difference from positions of respect. You remind us that we all have a voice in the great debate, and it is only by engaging in our communities, local and global, that we can promote change and move our country forward. For your commitment to journalistic truths, civil discourse, and active citizenship, sir, we honor you.
By the authority invested in me by Washington and Jefferson College in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, I confer upon you the degree of Doctor of Humane Letters, honoris causa, in token of which I present this diploma and cause you to be invested with the hood appropriate to this degree. Congratulations. Congratulations to all our honorary degree recipients, and thank you for allowing us to welcome you into the W&J community. And it is now my distinct pleasure to invite you, Howard Fineman, to address the class of 2015.